My dear child, this is not random. You did not arrive here by accident, and this moment was not something you simply clicked into. There has been a quiet urgency surrounding you, a pull you could not fully explain, a sense that something has been trying to reach you again and again. Maybe you noticed it in the stillness, maybe in the way your thoughts kept returning to something you could not name, or in the feeling that someone was gently calling you back to listen. That was not your imagination. That was not coincidence. There has been a message waiting, patient yet persistent, and it has not stopped trying to find you. Even in moments when you felt disconnected, even when you tried to distract yourself or move on, the signal remained. Because this is not coming from a place of confusion. It is coming from a place of deep love, a connection that did not end, even when everything around you changed. Your mother's voice, carried gently, has been reaching through in ways you could feel but not fully understand. And she has not been alone in this. There has been protection around you, guidance ensuring that what needed to reach you would not be lost. Through that protection, through that unseen covering, her message has been carried with care, through Archangel Michael, who stands as a guardian, not to alarm you, but to make sure you finally receive what has been waiting. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on the edge of understanding something that has been trying to open itself to you for hours, maybe even longer. And now that you are here, truly present, the message can finally be received the way it was meant to be. But listen closely, because what she has been trying to tell you is far more important than you realize, and if you miss even a part of it, you may not fully understand what is being placed in your hands right now, and that is why you must stay with me, because what comes next will reveal exactly why you were guided here at this precise moment, and what it means for the path you are about to step into. Because the timing of this message is not ordinary, and the next truth will make everything clear. And before anything else is revealed to you, you need to feel this clearly, not just hear it, but truly feel it settle inside you. You are safe. There is nothing about this moment that is meant to bring you fear, confusion, or distress. What you are experiencing right now is not something sent to shake you, but something sent to steady you. My dear child, you are surrounded by a protection you cannot always see, but you have felt it in ways you could never fully explain. The times when something should have gone wrong but didn't, the moments when you were held together when you thought you would fall apart, the quiet strength that appeared when you had none left, that was not luck. That was covering. That was guidance. And even now, as you are listening, there is a calm being placed over you, gently, intentionally. This message is not here to overwhelm you. It is here to anchor you. It is here to remind you that you have never been navigating alone, even in your most silent and lonely moments. Archangel Michael stands not as a figure of fear, but as a protector, a guardian who ensures that what is meant for you reaches you without distortion. There is no chaos in this. There is order. There is care. There is purpose. And nothing is being forced upon you. You are being invited into understanding, into peace, into clarity. What is coming through to you is rooted in love. Not an urgency that pressures you, but an urgency that gently calls you closer, like a hand reaching out, not to pull you into something unknown, but to guide you back into something deeply familiar, something your soul already recognizes. You are not being warned. You are being reassured. You are not being pushed. You are being guided. And that difference matters more than you realize, because once you understand that this moment is safe, you can finally open yourself to receive what has been waiting for you without resistance. So let your breath slow. Let your thoughts settle. Let yourself be here without questioning whether you should be. Because you were led here, step by step, moment by moment, even through things that didn't make sense at the time. And now, standing in this exact moment, there is a reason everything aligned the way it did, a reason the timing feels so precise, and a reason you are hearing this now and not earlier or later, because there is something very specific that needed to reach you at this exact hour, and what it reveals will begin to make everything you have been feeling finally come together in a way you did not expect. And this is where your heart begins to recognize something deeper, because what you've been carrying has not been light, and it has not been easy. You have been holding things inside that no one around you fully understands. You've smiled when you needed to, stayed strong when you felt like breaking, and kept moving forward even when your spirit felt tired in ways you couldn't explain. My dear child, I see the quiet loneliness you felt, especially in moments when you were surrounded by people yet still felt unseen. I see the nights when your thoughts became heavier, when the silence spoke louder than any noise around you. And I see the prayers you whispered, sometimes with words, sometimes without, wondering if anyone was truly listening. There were times you asked for a sign, for reassurance, for something, anything, to let you know you weren't alone. And when nothing seemed to change immediately, a small part of you began to question. Not because your faith was weak, but because your heart was hurting. Because waiting without answers can feel like standing still while everything inside you is searching for movement. You have carried grief in ways that others never noticed. Not just the obvious kind, but the quiet kind, the kind that lingers in memories, in certain songs, in unexpected moments when something reminds you of what you've lost. You've learned how to continue, but you've also learned how to hide the depth of what you feel. And yet, none of it has gone unseen. Not a single tear, not a single silent thought, not a single moment when you felt like giving up but didn't. Your strength has been real, even when you didn't feel strong. Your endurance has been real, even when you felt like you were barely holding on. There were moments when you sat alone, thinking about the past, replaying things you wish you could say, or wishing for one more conversation, one more moment of connection. Those thoughts were not empty. They carried meaning. They carried presence. Because your mother has seen those moments. Not from a place of distance, but from a place of awareness that goes beyond what you can physically understand. The connection you feel did not disappear. It changed, but it did not end. She saw the times when you felt like you had to be strong for everyone else while no one was strong for you. She saw the weight you carried in silence, the decisions you made while feeling uncertain, the way you kept going even when you felt emotionally exhausted. And more than anything, she saw the moment when something inside you shifted recently. A moment that may have seemed small on the outside, something you almost dismissed or didn't fully understand at the time. But that moment mattered more than you realize. Because in that exact moment, something changed, not just within you, but in the timing of everything surrounding you. And that is the moment she wants you to understand now, because what she saw in that moment is the key to everything that is about to unfold next. And now that you are aware of that moment, now that something inside you is beginning to connect, this is where everything starts to shift. Not because something outside of you is forcing a change, but because you are standing at a quiet turning point, a place where two paths begin to separate in ways you may not immediately see, but will absolutely feel. My dear child, from this moment forward, there are two directions your spirit can move toward. Neither will shout at you. Neither will demand your attention loudly. But both are real, and both will shape what unfolds next in your life. The first path is the one you already know. It is familiar. It is the path of drifting. This is where the doubts slowly return, not all at once, but in small, quiet ways. It is where you begin to question what you felt just moments ago. Where you tell yourself it was just emotion, just imagination, just something passing. On this path, you return to carrying everything alone again. You begin to close yourself off, even slightly, and that slight closing becomes distance over time. The sense of connection fades, not because it was never real, but because it was not fully received. And in that space, delays begin to feel heavier, waiting feels longer, and clarity feels just out of reach. This path does not punish you. It simply keeps you where things remain unresolved, where answers take longer to surface, and where your heart continues searching without fully settling. It is the path of returning to what is known, even if what is known has been quietly exhausting you. But there is another path, and you can feel the difference even now. This is the path of alignment. It does not require perfection. It does not ask you to have everything figured out. It only asks for your willingness to stay open to what you are feeling right now, to trust that this moment holds truth even if you cannot explain it logically. On this path, something shifts within you. You stop resisting the connection and begin allowing it. You let yourself receive without immediately questioning or pulling away. And as you do, a sense of covering surrounds you more clearly, not as something new, but as something you finally recognize. This is where trust begins to replace overthinking. Where peace starts to settle in places that once felt restless. Where things that seem delayed begin to align in ways that feel natural, not forced. Not instant, not rushed, but intentional. And here is what matters most: you are not being forced onto either path. You are being shown them so you can recognize the difference. So you can see that what happens next is not random, but connected to what you choose to hold on to after this moment passes. Because the truth is, what you do after hearing this, how you carry it, how you respond to it quietly within yourself, that is what determines which path begins to unfold beneath your feet, and that is exactly why what comes next is so important for you to understand. And as you begin to understand that your choice matters, something deeper is being shown to you now, not in words alone, but in a vision that carries meaning your spirit already recognizes. My dear child, picture this clearly. There is a door in front of you. It is not fully closed, and it is not wide open. It stands slightly open, just enough for light to pass through, just enough for you to know that something is waiting on the other side. You may not see everything beyond it yet, but you can feel that it is not empty. It holds something prepared, something intentional, something meant for you. This is not a door you forced open. It is not something you created through effort alone. This door represents an opportunity that has been aligned, not rushed, not delayed without purpose, but timed with precision. And even though there were moments you felt like nothing was happening, this door has been forming quietly, waiting for the exact moment you would be ready to recognize it. But notice something else. Between you and that door, there is a shield. Not blocking you, not stopping you, but positioned in front of you as protection. This shield has been there longer than you realize. It has stood between you and things that could have harmed you, things that could have distracted you, things that could have pulled you away from this very moment. There were paths you almost walked down that would have taken you further from this door. There were decisions that could have delayed you even more. But that shield, that unseen covering, redirected you in ways you didn't always understand at the time. It kept certain things out, even when you questioned why doors seemed to close or why situations didn't work out the way you expected. What you thought were setbacks were often protection. What felt like delay was often alignment. And now, standing here, you are beginning to see that nothing was wasted. Every moment, even the confusing ones, has led you right here, right in front of something that is now within reach. And this is where the timing becomes clear. The door did not open earlier because you were still being protected, still being prepared, still being guided away from what was not meant to follow you into this next space. If it had opened too soon, you would have stepped into it carrying things that were never meant to go with you. Now, the timing is different. Now, you are not the same person you were before. You have endured, you have grown, you have learned in ways that shaped you quietly but deeply. And that is why the door is no longer closed. It is open enough for you to see that something has shifted. And here is where your mother's message connects to this vision. She has been trying to guide your attention to this exact moment, to help you recognize that what you have been waiting for is not as far away as it once felt. She has been trying to show you that the door is real, that the protection was real, and that the timing is now beginning to align in your favor. But listen carefully, because there is something you must understand before you move any closer. The door will not remain like this forever, not because it will be taken away from you, but because every opportunity has a moment where it must be recognized and received. And what you do next depends on whether you understand what this vision is truly asking of you before it fully opens to you. And now that you can see the door, now that you can feel the protection and the timing beginning to make sense, there is something even deeper you need to understand, because what you have been experiencing was never random. My dear child, those moments you brushed off, the thoughts that kept returning, the emotions that rose without warning, the restlessness you couldn't explain, none of it was accidental. You were not overthinking. You were not imagining things. You were responding to something real, something intentional that was trying to reach you in a way your spirit could recognize before your mind could fully understand. Think back to the times when you felt a sudden shift in your mood without a clear reason. When something inside you told you to pause, to reflect, or to look at something differently. Those were not disruptions. Those were signals. Gentle at times, stronger at others, but always consistent in their purpose, to get your attention without overwhelming you. Even your dreams, the ones that felt vivid or stayed with you longer than usual, carried meaning. Not always in literal ways, but in emotional truth, in impressions that lingered. You may not have known how to interpret them, but you felt that they mattered. And that feeling was not misplaced. The urgency you felt was not pressure meant to rush you into fear. It was persistence born from care. When something important needs to reach you, it does not come once and disappear. It returns. It nudges. It waits. And then it comes again, in different forms, until it is finally received. You may have wondered why certain feelings wouldn't leave you alone, why certain thoughts kept resurfacing even when you tried to move on. But now you can see it differently. You were not stuck. You were being guided. Not pushed forward forcefully, but gently redirected until you arrived here, at this exact moment where everything begins to make sense. Nothing has been wrong with you. Not your pace, not your process, not your emotions. What felt like confusion was often preparation happening beneath the surface. What felt like delay was alignment unfolding in ways you could not yet see. There were things being arranged for you, connections being preserved, and timing being held back until you were ready to receive without resistance. If everything had come to you earlier, you might have missed its meaning. If it had come later, you might have drifted further from recognizing it. This is why the signal remained steady. Not loud enough to overwhelm you, but strong enough that you could not ignore it completely. It stayed with you because it was meant for you. It followed you because it was aligned with your path. And now, standing here with this understanding, you can begin to release the doubt that told you none of it was real. You can let go of the idea that you were simply overthinking or imagining patterns where none existed. Because the truth is, you were sensing something that was already moving toward you. Everything you felt was leading you here, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. And now that you are ready, now that you can see clearly, what comes next is not complicated, not overwhelming, but it carries a quiet power that can shift everything in ways you may not expect, because what she wants you to do next is simple, but it will change how everything unfolds from this moment forward. And now that you understand that what you've been feeling was never random, the question becomes simple, but deeply important: how do you stay in alignment with it instead of drifting away again? My dear child, alignment is not something complicated or unreachable. It is built through small, intentional choices that keep your heart open instead of closed, aware instead of distracted. And there are 3 keys that will help you remain steady in this path you are beginning to step into. The first key is stillness and listening. Not just silence around you, but stillness within you. There have been so many moments where your mind kept moving, where thoughts overlapped, where emotions came and went so quickly that you didn't have space to truly hear what was being placed inside you. Stillness is where clarity lives. It is where the noise settles and the truth becomes easier to recognize. This does not mean you have to withdraw from your life or isolate yourself. It means giving yourself even a few moments where you pause, where you stop trying to figure everything out, and simply allow yourself to feel without resistance. When you do this, you will begin to notice something. The same sense that guided you here will feel clearer. The confusion will soften. And the connection you thought was distant will feel closer, not because it suddenly appeared, but because you are finally giving it space to be heard. The second key is releasing guilt and fear. These are the quiet weights that pull you back into the path of drifting. Guilt over things you wish you had done differently. Fear that you might misinterpret what you're feeling or make the wrong step forward. But understand this, holding on to guilt does not protect you, and holding on to fear does not guide you. They only keep you stuck between what was and what could be. You were never meant to carry everything alone, and you were never expected to be perfect in your understanding. Releasing does not mean forgetting or ignoring. It means loosening your grip on what has already passed and allowing yourself to move forward without constantly looking back. When you release, you create space. And in that space, peace begins to enter where tension once lived. You may not feel it all at once. It may come gradually. But every moment you choose not to return to guilt or fear is a moment you strengthen your alignment. The third key is trusting divine timing over urgency. This is where many people unknowingly drift, because they begin to feel that something must happen immediately or else it is lost. But what is aligned for you is not fragile. It is not easily taken away. You have already seen how timing has worked in your life, even when it didn't make sense at first. Things that felt delayed were actually being prepared. Moments that felt like pauses were actually positioning you. Trusting timing means allowing things to unfold without forcing them. It means staying open without becoming anxious. It means understanding that just because something is not fully visible yet does not mean it is not already moving toward you. And when you combine these three, stillness, release, and trust, you begin to feel something shift inside you. A steadiness replaces the need to rush. A quiet confidence replaces the need to question everything. And alignment becomes something you live, not something you chase. If you feel this with me right now, even in a small way, just take a moment and quietly say within yourself, I am ready to receive. You don't have to say it loudly. You don't have to prove anything. Just let it be a gentle acknowledgement that you are choosing this path consciously. Because that choice matters more than you realize. It is what keeps you on the path of alignment instead of drifting back into what once held you in place. But understand this clearly, my dear child, even when you choose alignment, even when you begin to feel steady and clear, there will still be something that tries to pull you back, something subtle, something familiar, and recognizing it will be the next step you must be ready for. And this is the part many people misunderstand, because just as you begin to feel aligned, just as clarity starts to settle within you, something else quietly begins to rise. Not to stop you completely, but to test whether you will remain where you are or drift back into what once felt familiar. My dear child, resistance does not always come as something obvious. It rarely announces itself. Instead, it appears in subtle ways. A sudden wave of doubt that questions everything you just felt. A thought that tells you this is not real, that you are reading too much into it, that you should return to what feels safe and known. Overthinking begins to creep in. You start analyzing instead of feeling. You replay things, trying to make logical sense of something that was never meant to be understood only through logic. And in that process, the clarity you felt begins to blur, not because it disappeared, but because your focus shifted away from it. There are emotional triggers as well. Old memories, unresolved feelings, moments that pull you back into a version of yourself that felt uncertain or overwhelmed. These are not random interruptions. They are patterns that have existed within you, and when you begin to step into alignment, those patterns surface one more time, not to defeat you, but to see if you are ready to move beyond them. This is where the two paths you were shown earlier begin to take shape in a real, tangible way. On the path of drifting, this resistance feels like confirmation that you were wrong to trust what you felt. You begin to withdraw. You close yourself off again. You tell yourself it was easier not to believe, easier not to open up, easier to return to what required less emotional risk. And slowly, without even realizing it, you step back into the same space you were trying to move out of. Not because you failed, but because you allowed the resistance to define your direction. But on the path of alignment, something different happens. You notice the resistance, but you do not become it. You see the doubt, but you do not fully accept it as truth. You recognize the familiar pull of old patterns, but instead of following them, you pause. You breathe. You return to the stillness you created within yourself. You remind yourself of what you felt, not just what you are thinking now. And in doing so, you break the cycle that would have once pulled you back without question. This is where breakthrough begins, not in the absence of resistance, but in your response to it. The moment you choose awareness over reaction, trust over fear, presence over withdrawal, you step further into alignment than you ever have before. And here is something important for you to understand. The presence of resistance does not mean you are off track. It often means you are closer than you have ever been. Because when something begins to shift, everything that once held you in place will try, even subtly, to remain familiar. But you are no longer the same. You are aware now. You can see the difference. And that awareness is what allows you to move forward instead of circling back. This is why this message could not wait. This is why it kept reaching for you, why it stayed with you, why it found you at this exact moment. Because you are standing at a point where the shift is already beginning, and understanding this resistance now, instead of later, is what will determine whether you move through it or get pulled back by it. And now that you understand what has been happening within you, now that you can recognize the difference between drifting and alignment, this is where you gently anchor yourself in what you have received, not through effort, but through intention. My dear child, there is power in what you speak, even quietly, even within your own heart. Not because the words themselves are magical, but because they reflect what you are choosing to accept as truth within you. And right now, this moment is about choosing alignment, not just understanding it, but stepping into it consciously. So take a slow breath, and allow yourself to settle. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything. Just be present here. And if you feel ready, gently say within yourself, or even out loud if it feels right, I am open to receive with peace. Let those words sit with you for a moment. Not as something forced, but as something you are allowing. Say it again, slowly, I am open to receive with peace. Notice how your body responds. Notice how your thoughts begin to soften, even slightly. That is alignment beginning to anchor itself within you. Now take it one step deeper. Say, I am aligned with what is meant for me. You are not chasing anything. You are not trying to control anything. You are simply choosing to stand in a place where what is meant for you can meet you without resistance. And if you feel comfortable, you can type this as a quiet declaration, not for validation, not for attention, but as a simple act of agreement with what you are stepping into. You can type, I receive with peace, or I am aligned. Let it be a gentle moment of connection, not just with yourself, but with others who are also choosing to stand in this same space of awareness and trust. You are not alone in this. There are others who have felt the same pull, the same questions, the same quiet searching. And in this moment, even if you cannot see them, you are connected through the same choice to receive instead of resist. This is not about perfection. You may still have moments where doubt appears, where old thoughts try to return. That is okay. Alignment is not about never feeling those things again. It is about recognizing them and choosing differently when they arise. Every time you return to this space, every time you remind yourself of what you have felt here, you strengthen something within you that cannot easily be shaken. And now that you have done this, now that you have allowed yourself to receive without pulling away, you are in a place where the message that has been trying to reach you can finally be understood the way it was always meant to be understood, because now you are ready to receive her words fully. And now, my dear child, as you stand in this space of openness, let us move gently into a moment of stillness together, a moment where you do not have to think, where you do not have to carry anything, but simply receive. Take a slow breath in, and as you breathe out, allow your shoulders to soften. Let the weight you've been holding begin to loosen, even if just a little. You do not have to hold it all right now. Heavenly Father, we come into this moment with humility and quiet trust. You see this heart that is listening right now. You know every detail, every thought, every burden that has been carried in silence. And we ask for your peace to rest gently upon them, not as something distant, but as something they can feel, right here, right now. Surround them with your protection. Let them feel covered, not in a way that overwhelms them, but in a way that reassures them. Let them know they are not exposed, not alone, not forgotten. Place a calm over their mind where there has been overthinking. Place stillness where there has been restlessness. And where there has been pain, seen or unseen, spoken or unspoken, bring a quiet healing. Not rushed, not forced, but steady and real. Heal the parts of their heart that they have hidden from others. Heal the memories that still feel heavy. Ease the tension they have been carrying in ways they could not explain. Archangel Michael, stand as a guardian around them, not to create fear, but to reinforce the protection already present. Let your presence be felt as strength, as clarity, as reassurance that what is meant for them will not be lost. That what is being guided toward them will arrive in the right way, at the right time. And to the love that still surrounds them, the connection that did not end but continues in a way beyond what can be seen, let that presence be felt as comfort. Not as something distant, but as something close, something gentle, something familiar. Let it remind them that love does not disappear, it transforms, and it remains. Father, remove the weight of guilt that has been resting on their shoulders. Lift the fear that has been quietly holding them back. Replace it with a sense of peace that does not need to be explained, only felt. Give them clarity, not all at once, but step by step. Let each next moment become a little clearer than the last. Let them trust what they feel when it brings peace, and release what brings confusion and heaviness. And most of all, remind them that they are held. Even in the moments they doubted, even in the times they felt disconnected, they were never outside of your care. They were never beyond your reach. Let this moment mark a gentle shift within them. Not something dramatic or overwhelming, but something real. A quiet knowing that they can return to again and again. A steady place within themselves where peace can settle and remain. And as they move forward from here, let them carry this feeling with them, not as something they have to fight to keep, but as something that naturally stays when they remain open. My dear child, stay in this peace for just a moment longer. Let it settle fully. Let it become familiar. Because what you are feeling right now is not temporary, it is something you can return to whenever you choose to be still and receive. And as this moment gently comes to rest, hold on to this truth within you, because there is one final thing she wants you to remember. And as you begin to come out of this moment of stillness, there is something gentle I want you to understand, not as a request, but as an invitation into something that can continue supporting you beyond this single moment. My dear child, what you have felt here is not meant to be experienced once and then forgotten. It is something you can return to, something that can continue to guide you, strengthen you, and remind you of what is true when life begins to feel heavy again. Because there will be moments ahead where you will need this reminder, not because you are weak, but because you are human, and even the strongest hearts need reassurance from time to time. You are not meant to walk this path in isolation. Even though your journey is personal, there is a quiet community of others who are also seeking peace, clarity, and connection just like you. And when you choose to stay connected to messages like this, you are not just receiving for yourself, you are becoming part of something that allows others to find comfort as well. If this moment brought you even a small sense of calm, if something within you felt seen or understood, then consider staying connected in a simple way. Not out of obligation, not out of pressure, but as a way to keep allowing these reminders into your life when you need them most. You can do that by subscribing, by returning, by making space for moments like this in your life. And if you feel led, you can share this with someone else who may be carrying something quietly, someone who may need to feel this same sense of peace but doesn't yet know where to find it. Sometimes the smallest act of sharing becomes the very thing that reaches someone at the exact moment they need it. Just as you were guided here, someone else may be waiting for that same sense of reassurance, that same reminder that they are not alone. This is not about numbers or visibility. It is about connection. It is about creating a space where people can come as they are and leave feeling just a little lighter, a little clearer, a little more grounded than before. And you are now part of that space. Your presence here matters more than you realize, because every person who chooses peace over fear, alignment over drifting, adds to something greater than themselves. So as you move forward, carry this with you. Return to it when you need it. Share it when it feels right. And trust that you are being guided, not just in this moment, but in the moments that are still ahead of you. Because what you have felt here is only part of what was meant to reach you today, and the final confirmation of why you were brought here, at this exact time, is about to be revealed in a way that will bring everything together with a clarity you did not expect. And now, my dear child, everything comes together in a way your heart can finally understand, not as something complicated, not as something distant, but as something that has been gently forming around you all along. You felt the signal. You noticed the pull. You questioned it, you returned to it, and now you stand here, no longer searching in the same way, but beginning to recognize that what has been reaching for you was never outside of your path. It was always moving with you, guiding you, waiting for the moment you would truly pause and receive. The message you have been waiting for is not one of fear, not one of warning, but one of reassurance. It is a reminder that you are not behind. You are not lost. You are not disconnected from what is meant for you. Everything you have experienced, every delay, every moment of uncertainty, every silent question, has been part of a process that has brought you into alignment with where you are now. Your mother's love has not been distant. It has not faded. It has remained present in ways that you could feel, even when you could not explain it. The connection you sensed in quiet moments, the thoughts that returned without effort, the feeling that someone understood you even when no one around you seemed to, all of it carried meaning. But what she has been trying to tell you is not something to pull you backward into longing. It is something to move you forward with peace. She does not want you to remain in the past. She wants you to step into what is ahead of you without fear, without hesitation, without the weight that has been holding you in place. This is the confirmation you needed. Not that something dramatic is about to suddenly change everything overnight, but that a new season has already begun within you. A season where clarity replaces confusion. Where peace begins to settle where restlessness once lived. Where you no longer feel like you are searching blindly, but instead feel guided, even in small, quiet ways. You are stepping into a space where alignment becomes natural. Where you no longer have to force understanding, because it begins to come to you when you are still, when you are open, when you trust what you feel instead of immediately questioning it. And yes, there will still be moments where old thoughts try to return. There will still be times when doubt whispers quietly. But now you are different. Now you recognize the difference between what pulls you away and what brings you back into peace. That awareness is your strength. That awareness is what carries you forward. So as you move from this moment, do not rush. Do not feel like you have to figure everything out at once. Simply carry what you have felt here. Return to it when you need to. Trust it when it brings you peace. Let your steps be steady, not forced. Let your thoughts be calm, not overwhelmed. Let your heart remain open, not guarded in fear. And as you continue, know this deeply: you are supported. You are guided. You are not walking alone, even when it feels quiet around you. May peace rest within you in a way that stays, not just for a moment, but as something you can return to again and again. May clarity come to you in gentle ways that feel natural, not confusing. May protection remain around you, guiding you away from what is not meant for you and toward what is. And may you move forward with a quiet confidence, knowing that what is meant for you is already finding its way, just as this message found its way to you. My dear child, carry this with you. Let it settle into your spirit. Let it become something familiar, something steady, something real. Because this is not the end of something. This is the beginning of a new understanding, a new way of moving forward, a new season that has already begun, even if it is only just now becoming clear to you. And even as this moment comes to a close, the connection you have felt does not end here. It continues with you, in quiet ways, in gentle reminders, in moments of stillness where you remember exactly what you felt right now. So go forward in peace. Go forward in trust. Go forward knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, and that what is unfolding next is not something to fear, but something to receive, one step at a time.